special one. I don't think that it's a standout in here by any stretch. I think this is a wide open race in here, but I like someone else. I also like number 5, Music at Work. I think this horse, the first Craig Smith horse coming here, also from Alberta. This horse was in Stakes Company all year long and was hitting the board 2nd and 3rd. So I think this one will be competitive, and I like that it has a little bit of an off-pace style because a lot of horses in here have that run and gun, go to the front, catch me if you can, and that just might prove the determining factor of the race, that it'll set up for the closer. Even though closers didn't do that well yesterday, they only won 1 race, and that was the last race, beating the speed horse. But I like Music at Work and Wits Datalink, as you said. I like this horse as a long shot. 3 outs ago, it ran against older horses, which is always a tough task. Then went against straight 3-year-olds, was beaten as the favorite, and then got the job done last time out as the favorite once again, but did it really impressively stalking. So I like 3 horses in here. I like 4, 5, and 7 in a wide open first race. Our feature race, the Liz's Pride. Now over to race number 2. We have a maiden $5,000 claimer for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Well, what do you guys like in this one? This is a toughie.
All right. Thanks, Kurt. This is a good race to consider a few things. One, there's many unknowns, and there's many horses that are in this race that will have to improve to have a chance to win a race. So that's one thing. The other angle to pay attention to, if some of you saw, and I got in trouble for shaking my head at Kurt yesterday about a 3-year-old versus the 4-year-old fillies, take note of which ones are 3-year-olds in here and which ones are 4-year-old and older. The tough part is the 3-year-olds have a little more upside, but I'm still trying to find a 4-year-old, and that one would be the 2 horse. It's got 2 5-furlong works. Like I said in the last one, I'm looking for those 5-furlong works. Has a chance to improve. The big thing on this horse is that blinkers added last year, and actually showed like the horse could run a little bit. That's my key horse. The 7 horse is scratched now, which is unfortunate. We would have seen if that workout was a Morning Glory or not. The only other one I can really talk about is the 8, has the class drop. I was betting the debut, only had 1 start. You would like to think it would improve, being a 3-year-old, but remember, it is a 3-year-old racing older, so it will have to mature to take over.
Marshall, who do you like?
Well, just to reiterate what both of you guys have said, this is one of many tricky races on the card. A lot of unknowns. Speaking of the unknowns, we've got 2 firsters in here. I did check their pedigrees, and unfortunately, there's nothing to report. This is the first foal for number 1, the dam of number 1, Chariot Chaser. No siblings to report about. Same goes for the 4-horse, Lauren's Little Star. No siblings. This is the first foal. If you are looking at one of the firsters, the 4 would be my preference just because of the 5-furlong work. That's actually not bad out of the gate. But I am actually going to go to one of the 3-year-olds. I do agree that this time of year especially, it's not my favorite to bet 3-year-olds against older horses. But I do think that often in a race like this, which is bottom claimers, the 3-year-olds do have more upside. And the 8 in particular, you've got good connections. Michael Nault, Antonio Whitehall. Again, I think we're going to be saying their names a lot this year. The drop from 15,000, that's a pretty big drop, obviously. This horse didn't do much in that race, broke last and ran evenly, but actually started running down the lane, and it was a good field. The horse that came second, Happy, raced in yesterday's maiden special weight race. So definitely a tougher field. The other horse I'm going to use in here is the 3. I think the 3 is the speed of the race. Raced with the 2 last year and was wide, 4 wide actually. And the 2 was the 1 last year, sat behind in the catbird seat, literally had the perfect trip, saving ground, popped out at the top of the lane and ran by everybody except for the winner in there. But I just think this 3-horse could get loose in here, and we saw yesterday 5 of 6 winners, gate to wire, every winner except for the last race. Wouldn't surprise me if we see speed again today. It has been raining, had been raining for most of the day. The sun is out now. It looks like we're going to have a fast track. and I do think we could see track favoring speed again tonight. So,
Yeah.
sorry, 8, 8, and then 3 and 5 for me, the dropper.
Okay, Marshall. Couple other things to add. Chariot Chaser has a missing workout to report. May 23rd, went 4 furlongs in 53-1 breezing. And Lauren's Little Star, the 4-horse, will debut on Lasix. So Lasix on Lauren's Little Star and Chariot Chaser. That kind of slow work, 4 furlongs, 53-1. My top selection in here is Quacks Like a Duck. This horse was betting down as favorite at Canterbury, was 2-1, just under that. The horse showed speed and was caught late down the lane. Juan Pablo Silva got this horse and just couldn't get a lot of run out of it. Its last start, it showed some speed, but it dueled 4 wide and then ended up tiring down the lane. Quacks Like a Duck in the Tom Gardepy barn now, has flash speed in the morning, has a bullet workout out of 16 and 49-2. So I think Quacks Like a Duck might show speed, and this isn't the strongest of fields, so I really like that horse. I also like the 8 Hello Country Bumpkin. The horse that ran 3rd in that race, Governor's Trophy, did come back to win going wire to wire. We've seen Happy yesterday, ran a gallant race, but just pretty well ran out of ground. That was a maiden allowance level, not maiden 5. So I think this horse is well spotted. And number 4, Lauren's Little Star, that 102-2 work that Marshall did point out. I think this race is going to run in about 101-4. So what that says is this horse will be competitive. Maybe that first time Lasix will be a help, as they don't get it in the morning for the workouts. So those are the 3 I like, 3, 8, and 4. Now on to race number 3, kicking off pick 4 wagering. A guarantee of $10,000. It's a maiden 5,000 claimer for the boys 3 and up. Back over to you, Marshall. Who do you like in here?
Let's see. This is yet another tough race on today's card. We've got I'm going to go to the outside horses. We've got 5, 7, and 8 all coming from Turf Paradise, where they had started already this year, so slight fitness edge to them. I keep coming back to the 5. I think that the race 2 back this horse ran, if he runs that race again, I think he's the winner today. Looks to me like there's a potential duel between the 6 and 7. I do like the fact that the 7 is dropping from the maiden 10,000 level at Turf Paradise. That's not a bad category at all, not a bad condition. So I do think that the 7 could get the lead, but there's the potential for a duel, and I think the 5 is just going to sit the perfect trip and pounce late. That's where I'm going in today's race. I actually wanted to mention the 2 as my long shot. The horse has some back class, 14 starts, obviously doesn't inspire confidence, but 6 of 14, so 6 times in the money. This horse had been racing tougher to start the year last year, maiden special weight here at ASD. Had a couple of troubled trips. Ryan Desjardins closed off the card yesterday, as I mentioned earlier, with 2 straight wins. This is his first horse racing today. I'm going to give him a look, especially at the 12-1 morning line price. So for me, Kurt, 5, 7, 2.
All right, and over to you, Stretch.
All right, Marshall, thank you for taking my thunder on the 2, but that's okay. We're going to go, I agree with what Marshall's saying. It does set up for the 5. One real small note on the 7, it's claiming 10 down to 5. So it is a slight drop. It was 3-year-old, so they do run a little higher. I think the horse is probably more speed, but there still could be a duel. One horse maybe to consider would be a distance was the 8. The 8 horse was better in 2019, 2020, a couple not so good trips at Turf Paradise. Jared seems to kind of turn the horses around. But I'm with exactly what Marshall's got, 5, 7, 2.
Well, we're going to be the triplets here, as I also like number 5. It's All on Slew. Great race, 2 outs go, only losing by a lip. A lot of these horses haven't shown they want to win, and that's really what you look for in a lot of these maidens, unless it's a clear-cut speed horse that might get loose and just pretty well run scared on the field going around the track. It's All on Slew. It has a couple races, that look like he definitely might want to win. So I'm with you there. And my long shot, number 8, Broadway Dave. If you throw out those Turf Paradise races, as Stretch did say, wow, this horse is speed and it could get out there. Hastings horses do very well here at Assiniboia Downs. There's tough racing over in BC, and it's in capable hands. The Jared Brown barn. I'm 5, 7, 8 in here. So we're all pretty well on the same page in one race, kicking off the pick 4. Now on to race number 4 for this $2,500 claimer for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up that are non-winners of the year, and they're going to go 5 furlongs once again. And kicking off the late pick 3. Who do you like in here, Stretch?
All right, this is the key, is who's ready to run. I think all the horses in here at one point in their career are better than this level. So we've got to figure out which ones are at least back to closer to their higher level. I've started with the 8 horse. He'll be the likely favorite. Couple key things why I think he is ready to run. He's got 2 absolute bullet works. And the other key to that, take a look at they're the exact same time. That's an angle I like to look at, is when they're running the same time in a workout, means they're probably running to their current form, pretty good health. So I think that horse is ready to win right now. The other one, which I remember from last year, is the 6 horse, Cats West. It came out of the start of the year running huge numbers and figures, and runs back to those could be very tough. Would give the 8 a tough run at the end. And then the last horse I'll mention, actually I'll take that back. One horse that the other guys may not mention is, if you look at the 5 horse, it's actually kind of my 3rd, 4th choice. If you look at the start of last year, was in stake races. You now have Stephen Gaskin as the trainer. Potentially could turn that horse around. We'll have to see. Usually what happens is once the horse gets sore during the meet, it's hard to get the horse to turn it around. Any of those races from 2 years ago could give that horse a shot, and at 15 to 1, watch out to potentially be somewhere in the money.
No doubt about it. Now over to you, Marshall.
You know, I'll just add on to what Glenn was just talking about in the 5 horse eye-catching. You know, one of the things I like to look for is improvement from 3 to 4, which often can see horses take a big step forward. Again, this is 2,500, so I'm not expecting anything too spectacular. But having said that, there could be some improvement, and at 15 to 1, definitely could see this horse, you know, used underneath in the exactors and tries, maybe even supers. But I am actually going to go right to the Deuce. This is one of my favorite hard-knocking mares. She's been racing at ASD for several years now. She seems to run well fresh. I think she's won her, well, last year she definitely won her first start of the year. 2 years ago, I think she also won her first start. She looks like the speed of the field to me. I think she's going to go right to the lead and not look back. I do think the 4, who has been racing tougher at Century Mile and Turf Paradise, does have a good record at the 4.5 furlong, 5 furlong distance, could press, but possibly has lost a step as a 7-year-old, and I'm looking for the Deuce to grab the lead early. You could really make a case for almost any horse in here, and I wouldn't be surprised. I do like the 6, Cats West, as well. Runs well fresh. Likes the distance, has been running at a higher class in previous years, as Glenn mentioned. I'm going to go with the 2, use the 4 and 6 underneath.
Okay, and I'm going to Cats West. I really like the way it ran in its first time out. Let's explain a little waiver claiming, what that means. A lot of these horses are in for $2,500, and it's a claimer, so you say, hey, I'm going to claim this one, but you can't. If it's been off for 3 months, the horse is allowed to run without a claiming price for the last price it ran at, and a lot of these were $2,500. And if it's over 6 months, you get 2 shots at $2,500. So that's why you're seeing some of these horses at a low level. Doesn't mean they are $2,500 claimers, but you are taking that advantage because you do have to winter them. It costs money, probably about $10,000, say $6,000 to $10,000, whether you own a farm, to get them back to the races and ready to go. So that's all about waiver claiming. And Cats West fits this perfectly. For 5,000, she ran a big race last year. First time out, that was in the Ardell Sailor Barn. But she's run big every single time early on, and she has back class, made over $100,000, a lot of it the hard way. Here at Assiniboia Downs, $64,000 in earnings. Loves winning, loves being competitive. I think she is a solid $5,000 claimer that gets in at 25, so I think she is a big bargain. I also like Shiloh's Phil, who's a winner first time out, but isn't the only one. Dream Castle and Pretty Candy also won their first starts last year out of the Tom Gardepy Jr. barn. But Shiloh's Phil, what I like about her is she used to always be just a cutthroat speedball, go to the front, but she adopted a little stalking style, coming off the pace, running at him, that we had never seen before last year. So I think that makes her more effective, so I definitely like her. And I also like Dream Castle. What a big race last year when she won by 2 lengths over Aikman Jewel. And This Lady is a Diamond. This Lady is a Diamond did come back to win, and then had absolutely no shot in that next race against Palace Painter, who was a wavered horse that absolutely demolished them that day. And there was about a 5-horse photo for second. So I like Dream Castle with Cats West and Shiloh's Phil. Now we carry on to race number 5, a $5,000 claimer for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and up. Better non-3 lifers, going the 5/8 distance once again. Marshall, who do you like in here?
Okay, another tough one. We just don't get any breaks today. Great betting races, though. I mean, if you like a horse in any of these races, you're going to get great value. So that's, as a bettor, what more can you ask for? In these kind of races, I tend to gravitate towards lightly raced horses. And the 3 for me just fits that bill to a T. Lightly raced, fresh filly with speed, 6 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 1/3. She's never run a bad race. I like the work, the final work, 49-4 coming into the race. Whitehall, again, one of the top jockeys here at ASD year after year. So I look for this horse to go right to the lead. I do also I've looked at the 2 other lately raced horses, the 5 and 6. They do both have some big numbers, some back numbers, but we're talking long layoffs for both of these horses. So I'm going to make them prove to me that they're ready to run. The 5 has been off for 2 years, as an example. So let's give this horse 1 or 2 starts and then go from there. There's a pair of Gorno horses in here. Both have been racing at Fauner Park, so both have a fitness edge. Of the 2, I prefer the outside horse, the 8, Wits Gatto. So I'm going to use the 3 with the 8, and I'm going to throw in the 1 for third. That final 5 furlong work tells me this horse is ready to roll, but the horse has only raced on synthetic. All of her wins have come on synthetic, so let's see how she likes the dirt. I'll give her a start. 3-8-1 in the 5th today.
All right, Stretch, your turn.
Good points, Marshall. Again, I'm with you. It's all about race shape. So if the 3 clears, the 3 probably wins. If the 1 gets out sharp, runs back, takes to the dirt, that horse has a better chance to win. If they both get out, similar to the last race yesterday, where the top 2 favorites kind of dueled each other into the ground, then it becomes maybe the 5 and 6. So you've got to decide what race shape you think it is. I think that the 3 might be able to clear or at least stalk. If she runs back to 2 races, the August race, watch out. The 1 does scare me. It just depends. Marshall made a good point on the poly track, which is it's not dirt and it's not turf. It's a mixture there, so be careful, not all the horses. I think the only way the 5 and 6 win, like I said, if the 1 and 3 knock heads. I've got 3, 1, 5, 6. It's hard when you're taking 2 speed horses because I don't think both of them will be there, but that's kind of the order of preference. Kurt.
Well, this is kind of surprising that we went together again in here. Razzle me, dazzle me. We seen Swear Vengeance come out of the Elton Dickey barn last night in the last race. Battled it out with Trooper Jenny every step of the way, but then it was Ryan DeJarlis's Peeper who came and just caught her in the final strides. So what that tells me is Elton Dickey has his horses ready to go. Razumi Dazumi, you guys don't like those 3-year-olds early on running against older horses. Razumi Dazumi did that last year and successfully running a good second behind Princess Becky, and then Vivacitas, an older horse, had the lead, and that horse came from Canterbury in the Michael Nault barn and ended up running a couple big races after that. I really like Razumi Dazumi and Elsie's Parade. Look at that outstanding work in 1 minute coming into the race. It is a big question mark when it goes from poly to dirt, but I do like to see at least one good work on the dirt, and I see this one. This horse does have tactical speed, gets the inside, so I think definitely has a shot. And Wits Gatto is my other horse, so I'm also 3-1-8. So we're all on the same page here in race number 5. Let's carry on to race number 6. Jackpot Super High 5 wagering here for this $5,000 claimer for 3-year-olds and up. And what a great race to end off the card.
It is a great race, Kurt. This is the speed of the speed. Is there an all-out duel or not? This is where I've looked at some figures that I've got. I'm going to start with, I think the 6 is the speed of the speed. If Kayla can get the horse out, sends and clears, any little bit of a breather makes that horse super tough. If the 3 is going to sacrifice, or that horse is a need the lead horse. So it depends if Kayla can get the horse out. Any repeat of that last race makes that horse a winner. I'm against the 3 only because of the race shape. Unless the 6 doesn't break and Kurt jinxes the horse, then the 3 can possibly win. After that, my absolute long shot here is the 7 horse at 12-1. Basically, you're going to give me 12-1 on this horse. I'm going to certainly take it. Again, need the duel. All the horse has to do is just run and stalk evenly. May take over after that. The other one might be the 4. The workouts are there. Again, right running style to win it, depending on what the 3 does to the 6, or depending if the 6 can get the distance and go from there. The last one, just to touch base, is the 2. The races at Delta are very good, and the figures there that can also come in there. So if you think there's a duel, you got to go elsewhere. If you don't, watch out for the speed.
Marshall, what do you like?
I could go in a number of different directions here. This race is a total crapshoot for me. I landed on the 6, Disco Cat. Glenn and I clearly have very similar handicapping angles going today. But that means we're hopefully going to be right and pick a lot of winners. I just think this horse is the speed of the speed. That the race is down at Zia Park, a duplicate of that race back from December, the 5,000 N3L race. I think that horse wins today here. I want to mention the 1 horse also, because I've seen Remington Park is a very competitive meet. It's similar to Oaklawn in the sense that there's a lot of, they're full fields for starters, they're competitive fields, and there's a lot of good quality horses there. And when they go elsewhere, they tend to do well. So I realize this horse is coming off a bit of a break, but those back numbers tell me that this horse could certainly win at this claiming level, and the Remington Park 5,000 is a lot tougher than the ASD 5,000. So I give this horse a shot at big odds. And then my 3rd horse in here, the 2, a Fitness Edge, Gorno horse. He's got horses that have been running, and you'd think that they should have a definite advantage. So I definitely think the 2's got a shot to make the top 3 in here. So for me, Kurt, 6-1-2.
6-1-2 for you. Well, I like Snooze Sasa. This is a horse where if you have the DRF compared to the Equibase, at the distance, I guess it culminates, or it brings together the 5 and 5.5 furlongs. Snooze Sasa, 12 starts, 4 wins, 4 seconds. That seems like a little specialist to me. And this horse, as he said, Remington Park, but that workout on May 12th really stands out to me. That half mile and 48-3, draws the inside, has that tactical speed. I want horses that are going to be close to the front end when they're going these 5/8. It's kind of hard to bet those deep closers but Peeper did get there last night in the last race after sitting about 13 lengths back and second last in the race. But Snooze Sassa, if you throw out kind of the last 3 races, look just behind those Lone Star and Sam Houston. This horse is running 1-2, and so it's competitive. Draws inside, comes from a top barn. Definitely like this horse. I like Legendary Larry. Love those horses also coming from Delta. At Fawner Park, ran a big one first time out and then kind of filtered down the last 2. Showed a little bit of tactical speed, but not a lot after. Gorno had a couple of horses yesterday that were tailing off a little in form down in Fawner Park, but they definitely ran good enough to run top 4. And for betting superfectas, high 5s, you're going to have to put that in. And Trippy Riverman, I think, just might be the inside of the speed. And if it could get away on Disco Cat, and Trippy Riverman has won 4 lifetime, Disco Cat's only won 3, so they are pretty close. But that inside advantage, I think, is a big advantage here. A lot of horses yesterday on the inside were doing well, except the ralliers on the far outside. Trippy Riverman did work against Bud Light Larry, who's also in the Dennis Dorchester barn, and was able to keep up with him. He's a second level allowance horse here at the Downs. So Trippy Riverman, I watched him in Calgary last year, and this horse has some good blazing speed. I think he could show it today. And one other horse I just want to touch on, number 5, Dust Roller, and ask you guys about, if you throw out those Turf Paradise lines, does this horse fit for you guys?
Take it away, Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. I got to be honest. I put an X through this horse.
Off those last 3 races, for sure, it's double-digit defeats. Didn't really show anything. Showed a little bit of speed going a route. But if you look behind that, wow, 17.5. That walks over this field, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, that totally does. I mean, so the question is, you know, what happened? Looks like there was a trainer change there, and ever since that trainer change, you know, things kind of went sideways. Could have been an injury, though. Who knows? If the horse gets back to running those races, let's face it, no question, this horse should win the race. Yeah. The big question is if. At 25-1, though, it's definitely worth taking a shot, especially if you're, you know, thinking about including in underneath in the supers or the even an exactor. But yeah, absolutely, Kurt. I think you could be onto something there.
Even the jackpot pick 5, if you finish off with this one, that could really make a difference and go from jackpot instead of split pot. Stretch, anything to add about this?
No, I didn't cross horse out. When I put a question mark on a horse, and that's exactly what I did, similar to just the points. It's not a throw out. It's like, do I add it? And a horse that I have a question mark at a 25-1, I will be using this horse for sure in the superfecta. If I maybe play the high 5, that horse will be included. Just like you said, Kurt, that's the one. That's the one that makes it pay. Even if my 6 puts away your 3 and wins, and it comes 6-5, we'll still be happy. I'll give you credit on the 5 there, Kurt, for closing late.
All right, thanks, Stretch. And thank you for joining us for ASD Live, and we'll be back after the changes on this evening's Carter Racing.